Hey, I'm here again to yap. This is only a short one, but I'm talking about the downfall of the Jaundice Court. I spoke about this briefly on my TikTok some time ago, but I can speak about it in more detail here. So, to understand their downfall, we need to understand the Jaundice Court as whole. It wasn't just the Seekers. We know this because there is paintings in the laboratory that aren't by members of the Seekers. In fact, Theodora, a Seeker, has no paintings in the main body of the lab. The only time we see one is in the Christmas chapter, which is a hallucination. The Jaundice Court was multiple people, is what I'm trying to say, not just the Seekers. Now we know that the ring's preventing the baby and the king from going to the laboratory, so how could they have gotten to them? Well, we might as well have been told in Act 3, since as the babysitter goes to the workshop, we see the baby following shortly after. So what does this teach us? They require someone on the inside to get there. Now you may ask, who would have conspired with the king and the baby to get them into the lab? The king doesn't usually show himself, and there's not a lot of conversation with the baby. However, there's a third person. There's always been a third person. Casilda, aka the mother. In Casilda's attic, we see paintings like this, and Casilda herself is an artist. It's not improbable for her to have made them, except that's not her art style. This is what Casilda's art looks like. It's a more cartoonistic illustration for kids, which makes sense because it's in the books we read to Haster. All throughout the lab, I don't think there's a painting that directly correlates with the art in the attic. Other than this one, it has that same oil paint and messy vibe, not as much so as the paintings in the attic, but still enough that I think they could be done by the same person. Further, Baby in Yellow loves symbolism, and the fact the painting is of the Jaundice Court before they all fell to the baby feels like it's supposed to represent that it was Alden, Castagni, who worked with Casilda. Also with the paintings, there's a lot of scribbles on pieces of paper, and this isn't the only place we've seen scribbling on paper when someone is working with the king. We also see it in Alice Pickman's shrine. In my last video, I theorized. Alice scribbled out the lyrics on her music because she wanted to save people from the king, and I still think that to be true, but the scribble's on. King and Yellow scripts aren't the only ones there. Down here, we see a blank page entirely scribbled out resembling the ones in the attic, so we can assume from here that this is a symptom of madness from exposure to the baby. So, while I'm not suggesting that Alden betrayed the court on purpose, I still think he helped to do so because of the induced madness exposure to the baby gives you. This further links with my first theory that all the babysitters previously have been working with the doctor, since if Alden was a babysitter, then he'd be exposed to the baby a good portion of time, and that would also explain why he was in the attic. Sorry if I've not made a lot of sense. If you want me to elaborate, I will do in the comments. I hope everyone has a lovely day or night, and I have to get ready for school now.